Happy New Book Day! Part 1 of the teaching of Huang-Po on the transmission of mind. Now, I normally start by reading the translator's introduction, but this translator's introduction is 26 pages long. That's the two-part introduction. Dude, no thank you. I want to listen to what the master has to say, right? So if you don't mind, I'm going to break with my tradition of reading the introductions to this book here. And I'm going to give you a quick little rundown, and then we're going to jump right into a preface written by a previous person, like the person who compiled Huang-Po's teachings, who was Chinese and in the monastery. He compiled the teachings and said, hey, yo, this was that dude. I love him. He's dead. Here's his shit. And that introduction is just fine. I don't need the entire history of the text. You know, what our author Bofield is saying in this text is that basically it was his great honor to make the first original translation of Huang-Po and, you know, bring it to English and give it to the people, and yay, and the Buddhist Society has this book and that book and other books that were part of the background of Huang-Po. But at the moment, that's just not what we're doing. So, look, lady, or sir, or lady, if you want to know the introduction, then go ahead and get it. By the book, John Blowfield, sorry. Alright, here we go. This is Pei Jesus' preface, and like I said, he was an original Chinese person who had gathered this up. The great master Soi Yun lived below Wiltshire Peak on Mount Huang-Po in the district of Kao-an, which forms part of the prefecture of Hongqiao, or Zhao, but I'm not sure. Like I told you before, I can't pronounce these. He was third in the direct line of descent from Huinyi, the sixth patriarch, and the pupil of a fellow disciple, Huihai, holding in esteem only the intuitive method of the highest vehicle which could not be communicated in words. He taught nothing but the doctrine of the one mind, holding that there is nothing else to teach, and in that both mind and substance are void, and that the chain of causation is motionless. Mind is like the sun journeying through the sky and emitting glorious lights, uncontaminated by the finest particle of dust. To those who have realized the nature of reality, there is nothing old or new, and conceptions of shallowness and depth are meaningless. Those who speak of it do not attempt to explain it, establish no sects, and open no doors or windows. That which is before you is it. Begin to reason about it, and you will at once fall into error. Only when you have understood this will you perceive your oneness with the original Buddha nature. Therefore his words were simple, his reasoning direct, his way of life exalted, and his habits unlike the habits of other men. Disciples hastened to him from all directions, or from all quarters, looking up to him as a lofty mountain, and through their contact with him awoke to reality. Of the crowds which flocked to see him, there was always more than 1,000 with him at one time. In the second year of Hui Cheng, AD 843, when I was in charge of the district of Chunlin, I welcomed him on his coming to that city from the mountain where he resided. We stayed together in the Langsin monastery, where day and night I questioned him about the way. Moreover, in the second year of Tai Chung, that's AD 849, while governing in the district of Huailin, I again had an occasion to welcome him ceremoniously to the place where I was stationed. This time we stayed quietly at Huaiyun Monastery, where also I studied under him day and night. After leaving him, I recorded that I had what I had learned, and though able to set down only about a fifth of it, I esteem it as a direct transmission of the doctrine. At first, I was diffident about publishing what I had written, but now, fearing that these vital and penetrating teachings will be lost to future generations, I have done so. Moreover, I gave the manuscript to the monks at Tao Chao, Chao, and Fa Jin. Oh, I spelled that one right. Requesting them to return to Quang Tang Monastery on the old mountain and ask the elder monks there how far it agrees with what they themselves used to frequently hear in the past. Written on the 8th day of the 10th moon of the 11th year of Tai Chung in 858 of the Tang Dynasty. Part 1. The Chun Jiao record of the Zen master Huang-Po, whose name was Tuanji. A collection of sermons and dialogues recorded by Pei Tzu while in the city of Chuangjiao. You know what? He's probably the one that asked these questions that the master answered. I could never put that together before. I thought they were just random questions, but no, they're from his memory. Ooh, that's precious. That's precious. Ooh, ooh. I'm sorry. I love Zen masters, and I love Zen books, and I love to sing, and I'm about to get serious. Serious time. There we go. The master said to me, all the Buddhas and sentient beings are nothing but the one mind, besides which nothing exists. This mind, which is without beginning, is unborn and indestructible. It is not green nor yellow, has neither form nor appearance. It does not belong to the categories of things which exist or do not exist, nor can it be thought of in terms of new or old. It is neither long nor short, big nor small, for it transcends all limits, measures, names, traces, and comparisons. It is that which you see before you. Begin to reason about it, and you at once fall into error. It is like the boundless void, which cannot be fathomed or measured. The one mind alone is the Buddha. And there is no distinction between the Buddha and sentient beings. But that sentient beings are attached to forms, and so seek externally for Buddhahood. By their very seeking, they lose it. For that is using the Buddha to seek for the Buddha, and using mind to grasp mind. Even though they do their utmost for a full eon, they will not be able to attain it. They do not know that. They do not know that if they put a stop to conceptual thought and forget their anxiety, the Buddha will appear before them. For this mind is the Buddha, and the Buddha is all living beings. All Buddha's lives matters. It is not the less for being manifested in ordinary beings, nor is it the greater for being manifested in the Buddhas. As to performing the 6 paramitas and vast number of similar practices, or gaining merits as countless as the sands of the Ganges, since you are fundamentally complete in every aspect, in every respect, you should not try to supplant that perfection by such meaningless practices. I'm having trouble. Maybe I should start over. That's not how I roll. Okay. try to supplement that perfection by meaningless practices. When there is occasion for them, perform them, and when the occasion is past, remain quiescent. If you are not absolutely convinced that the mind is the Buddha, and if you are attached to forms, practices, and meritorious performances, your way of thinking is false and quite incompatible with the way. The mind is the Buddha, nor are there any other Buddhas or any other mind. It is bright and spotless as the void, having no form or appearance whatever. To make use of your minds to think conceptually is to leave the substance and attach yourselves to form. The ever-existent Buddha is not a Buddha of form or attachments. To practice the 6 paramitas and a myriad other practices with the intention of becoming a Buddha thereby is to advance by stages. But the ever-existent Buddha is not a Buddha of stages. Only awake to the one mind, and there is nothing whatsoever to be attained. That is the real Buddha. The Buddha, and all sentient beings, are only the one mind and nothing else. Mind is like a void, the void, in which there is no confusion or evil, as when the sun wheels through its shining upon the 4 corners of the world. For when the sun rises and illuminates the whole earth, the void gains not in brilliance, and when the sun sets, the void does not darken. The phenomenon of light and dark alternate with each other, but the nature of the void remains unchanged. So it is with the mind of the Buddha and of sentient beings. If you look upon the Buddha If you look upon the Buddha as presenting a pure, bright, or enlightened appearance, or upon sentient beings as presenting a foul, dark, or mortal seeming appearance, these conceptions resulting from attachments to form will keep you from supreme knowledge. Even after the passing away of many eons, as there are seas in the Ganges. I should have reread this before I read it again. I'm going to get better. I think I should start over, though. There is only the one mind, and not a particle of anything else on which to lay hold, for this mind is the Buddha. If you students of the way do not awaken to this mind substance, you will overlay the mind with conceptual thought. You will seek the Buddha outside of yourselves, and you will remain attached to forms, pious practices, and so on, all of which are harmful, and not at all the way to supreme knowledge. Making offerings to all the Buddhas of the universe is not equal to making offerings to one follower of the way who has eliminated conceptual thought. Why? Because such a one forms no concepts whatever. The substance of the Absolute is inwardly like wood or stone, in that it is motionless, and outwardly like the void, in that it is without bounds or obstructions. It is neither subjective nor objective, has no specific location, is formless, and cannot vanish. Those who hasten toward it dare not enter, fearing to hurtle down through the void with nothing to cling to, or to stay there fall. So they look to the brink and retreat. This refers to all those who seek such a goal through cognition. Thus, those who seek the goal through cognition are like the fur. Many. Oh, the fur. While those who obtain the intuitive knowledge of the way are like the horns. Phew. That's quite interesting, because actually horns are made of hair, like our nails are hair. And so it is with the horns of a horned animal. But fur is many, horned is focused. So that's quite interesting. Manchuri represents fundamental law, and the Samantabhadra activity. By the former it is meant the law of the real and unbounded void, and by the latter the inexhaustible activities beyond the sphere of form. Avalokitsvara Avalokitsvara represents the compassion. Mahastma, great wisdom, and Vilmakriti, spotless name. Spotless refers to the real nature of things, while name means form, yet form is really one with nature, hence the combined term spotless name. All the qualities typified by the great bodhisattvas are inherited in men and are not separated from the one mind. Awaken to it, and there it is. You students of the way, who do not awaken to this on your own, in your own minds, and who are attached to appearances, or who seek for something objective outside of your minds, have all turned your backs on the way. Oh. Huh. Huang-Po, we're supposed to be reading here. I'm supposed to be having... you could have told me this before, last time we read it. Hold my horses, okay? We're going to finish this reading, and then we're going to talk about the insight or not the insight, but the confession I just had. Let me go back a little bit. Wow. You students of the way who do not awaken to this in your own minds, and who are attached to form, or attached to appearances, or who seek for something objective outside of your own minds, all have turned your backs on the way, as the sands of the Ganges. The Buddha said of these sands, if all the Buddhas and all the Bodhisattvas with Indira and all the gods walked across them, the sands do not rejoice. And if the ox and sheep, reptiles and insects tread upon them, the sands are not angered. For jewels and perfumes they have no longing, and for the stinking filth of gore and urine they have no loathing. Okay, whoosh now. What I understood while I wrote on my blog, Open Letter to Lama I Like, I was in great struggle, tearing apart inside my psyche. And it was precisely because I longed for an objective something outside of my mind. I really was. That consumed me. That to find a guru, to find a teacher who knows the answer, it was powerful. But I didn't know this. I didn't quite know this. That in trying to find and attain that master for my life was to turn away from the path. He says so. And why? Why was it to turn away from my path? Because I was going to outsource my confidence. parents and teachers. I'm sure we do. But they're not supposed to be objective. They're not supposed to behave as creatures that come from outside of your mind. Basically, it means accord. It means an accord. It means students of the one mind know a student of the one mind, because both minds are not seeking something objective outside of themselves. Both minds are seeking Dharma, which is no fixed location. You understand? Maybe not. This was our first Zen lesson. I'm actually almost sad that I preached on it. I just had meant to read it and let the masters describe their speech and then let you find yourself in the lesson, but Huang-Po had a different plan. So this is part 1.